Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. Paranormal Perspective. Exploring the paranormal perspective. Exploring the paranormal perspective. Exploring the paranormal perspective.
Alright everybody, just a minute, I'm about to start. I'm so sorry for all those that are here and waiting. Technical difficulties. If you know me, you know it's technical difficulties. We'll be on in just a moment.
Exploring the paranormal perspective.
You're supposed to say the lines.
Oh, is it? I gotta say that?
Yes.
Public service announcement. The views and opinions are the opinions. Fuck that bullshit. They are my opinions and my guests, no one else's. Remember, this show ain't for chitlins' ears, so listening discretion and viewing discretion is advised. This is a paranormal horror crime show, so the scenes and the sounds could be a little terrifying to those little ears and those little eyeballs. And of course, there's obviously cussing. I mean, it's me. Also, please don't do anything that these stupid ass people do in this video or this podcast. This is for entertainment purposes and for you guys to listen with your ears. Consume the knowledge. And now, time for the show.
Exploring the paranormal perspective.
What is up, everybody? It's Sean with Exploring the Paranormal Perspective, Fenner Geeks Paranormal. I am so sorry that I am so late for the show today. It has been a fucking hell of a day. Premiere Pro, I waited 4 hours for it to export, and it's still not exporting, and I've done it twice. So thank you guys for those that are here. I am going to be playing the pre-recorded show right in a few moments. I am going to fix this though, so that you guys can actually see it in bigger, because it is not where it should be. Gonna wait a little bit and see who else pops in, and then we're gonna go from there. Yep, right here. So again, thank you for bearing with me and for being here. It is so appreciated. And it was such a wonderful interview, and I hope you guys enjoy it. If I can get this doing what I want it to do. I may not can get it to do what I want it to do. Because it's just that type of day for me. Yay. I want to thank the Booth brothers for giving me their time. They are such busy gentlemen, and they took the time out of their day to spend with me to pre-record this show. So without further ado, on with the show.
Hey,
Hi.
hey, hello.
Hello.
Hey, you colorful unicorn, you. Oh, there we go.
See
Hi.
you there. Hi.
Ow, howdy.
Hi.
Hello. Oops,
How
hang on.
are you two gorgeous gentlemen?
It was good. Really, really busy.
I know. Thank you for taking the time to spend with me.
How are you doing?
I am doing fantabulous. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to spend with me. I've been trying to
Oh,
get
my
you
pleasure.
two for so long, and I know you guys have been busy, so I want to say thank you first and foremost.
Oh, of course, we want to do this. It's exciting.
Well, you two have been in the spooky stuff for a little while since the Playboy era, after the Playboy era stuff. What got you guys into the supernatural?
There is a lot of difference between nipples and ghouls. I do have to put that to the point. We had worked, as for people don't know, we had worked for the Playboy entertainment industry in Europe for a while, but we only did the stuff you forwarded fast through. It's the artsy stuff that we did. The story content. Yeah. So when it came to all the, the racy stuff, we actually left the room. We were only there. We were only there to make their movies to look as real as one could possible with their budget. So the idea is for them back then was the whole industry was they were selling their content to if you guys remember Cinemax, and Cinemax had to have story and production value, and they couldn't cross that market over, so they hired us to give them that erotic thriller term, as they called them back then, so they could able to sell them in two ways, and they would have their X-rated stuff or the adult stuff, the sexy stuff for the Playboy channel, and then they would have the edited version with all the story and just nudity. The Cinemax. That's what we did.
So that's how that. So y'all stayed on while it was classy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Most people didn't see what we did because they forwarded fast. Yeah, it's a funny thing. If we still get people, those YouTube warriors love to, find something really buried in IMDb and say,
oh
hey,
my gosh,
you guys are porno actors, and I'm saying porno actors.
What? Porno actors.
Yeah. Well, let's clarify that. We were a band on stage in a club. That was about the whole extent of that scene. When we were in a movie, we were a rock band. Yeah, we were never in it. Just because we're in the movie as a band in the club, that's about it. Because people love to bring that up, like it's dirt, like it's something that pulling dirt or something. No, you were right. We were there when it was more artsy and classy before it became all self-based camera internet stuff.
Right.
We actually, at the end of the internet stuff, we actually helped Playboy launch their satellite up in the air because of the quality of our stuff, because it was very high end. Each budget was about $250,000.
Wow.
But anyway, to answer that question, we got tired of it, and as that industry changed, we were doing it for money, because with the money that we supported our own, dreams, our own films. We put our money, so it saved all that money up and made our first horror movie, which Dark Place, with Matthew McCrory. From Devil's Week. Yeah, we act in House of a Thousand. Well, it's few MM. Yeah, he played Tiny, which he was an amazing guy because he's a giant, and he was such an amazing guy to work with him. And we had the only film that he actually got to speak in. And he was so proud of himself that he got actual talking role. That's Dark Place. Look, a beautiful man he was. He was truly beautiful. Which has just got picked up by Amazon and Apple TV. Yeah.
I did see that. It's on my watch list.
That's called Dark Place. And that movie won us the Independent SAG Award for Independent Script. And that was the first feature film we did. And to answer your earlier question, that got investors interested into Death Tunnel. So when we made Dark Place, they came to us to make Death Tunnel. And Death Tunnel, we went to make a movie for Sony, which is a great film.
shot at Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Oh.
But we didn't have any paranormal experience per se. We were there just to shoot a teenage horror movie. But so much stuff happened while shooting that real movie, shooting the movie, that we could not. And to give you a little story for your viewers, I was shooting a scene where a girl looks down the hallway in a nightie. Of course, it's a horror movie. So she's walking down the hallway in a nightie with the flashlight. Hey guys, it's not funny anymore. Anyway, I feel like a bag of ice walks through me. And Keith Age, good old Hyde Keith, said, well, that's what always happens when a ghost walks through you. And I went, yeah, sure. You're just getting moved to shoot a horror film, right?
Right.
However, when I went back to look through the lens, there was a thin film of ice on the front. And when I went back to edit it for Sony, there was an image of a little girl blurred standing right in front of the camera. True story. And you can see all those stories on The Unseen, which is on our YouTube channel too. So, and then Chris had, would you please tell us, well, experience in the death tunnel was mind-blowing.
We went down to Waverly Sanatorium to shoot this horror movie, and we went there to scout where the cameras and the lighting would go, right? And when I got down there, I got to the bottom of the tunnel, and I turned around and the rest of the crew had moved on to a different direction.
You left him in the dark.
I left him at the bottom of the tunnel, and I went, okay. No. And then I turned around and I felt this horrific, oppressed feeling. It was really just something I've never felt before. And I felt that something very terribly wrong and down there, and something just horrible happened. And I had this intuition to pick up the camera I was taking pictures with and take a picture right in front of me. At the same time, I had a video camera on my side that was hanging there on a strap.
To do behind the scenes.
Yeah, to do behind the scenes, and it was running video, and I put it down. And I got so just overwhelmed that I ran up to the top of the tunnel, 500 feet, right? So when I got to the top of the tunnel, I threw up. I can't stand it. Didn't think too much about it, really.
Yeah.
But when I got back 2 weeks after, back to Los Angeles, I looked at these pictures that I had taken and the video, or the audio that was on the video. It was just dangling as I was running. It was a picture of a little girl standing right in front of me, and she had no eyes at all.
Oh, God.
On the camera audio, there was a scream, and it wasn't me, it was a scream.
Oh.
And I went, wow. And that was it. I was hooked into the paranormal. So
you heard it out loud as well as
no,
it? Oh,
no,
okay.
No, I just felt something horrible happening. And I just started taking pictures. Thank you. And in the dark and with the light coming in from the holes in the tunnel. And then the video recorder was always running. And I had captured all this, and then we were very intrigued. And at that point, I went through every picture looking, oh, what else is out there? And we caught all kinds of crazy.
We shot the sound man on a movie set, as everyone well knows. They always yell at what part of quiet don't you understand? They're really specific on getting dead quiet. And filming a scene in Waverly Hills in, I think, the basement area where they were locked in the cell. This is Death Tunnel, which is on Amazon and Apple Plus too. And Voodoo.
Yeah.
I was editing the film, and it sounds like someone dragging an iron bed across the floor. Yet nobody in the crew is responding to it, and no soundman is telling everyone to be dead quiet. And on the actual audio, you hear this dragging, like a bed dragging across the floor, somebody trying to get out of something or freaking out. And the really cool part, gives me chills talking about it, is you look at it and it's loud as day on the audio, and the soundman's not responding to you. The actress is still acting, but the waveform is non-existent. How is that even possible? That you can hear it, but there's no waveform.
That was crazy.
Yeah, Waverly's was really big on getting us in.
I think that
they're doing Spooked.
I know that. So you're into the paranormal heavy, and I think for everybody that's listening to that's in the paranormal, we're not even in it. once you get, and I call it a blessing to get invited into by seeing something or feeling something, or, even capturing, E.P.P shadows, whatever you may be. It's almost a blessing that you get that chance to get something that's a class A,
Yeah.
and then you're hooked. You can't, if you truly are, especially empathic, you can't walk away because now there's another world out there, and it's so intriguing.
It is amazing. It's like whenever I went to Ashmore Estates with you guys that one time, and I told you, and I was leaning over the rail and I was feeling nauseous. I didn't realize what it was because I've never felt that way before. I've never had an entity interact with me in that sort of aspect before.
Mhm.
So whenever you were telling me about what happened on the third floor and how that lady got pushed down the stairs, and I had the urge that I was going to get pushed, it kind of had me thinking, because I've been wanting to really get more involved in the paranormal and try to get the spirits to feel welcome and come to me and talk to me if they need.
Well, places have a way of reenacting the residual out, especially if you're weak or you're susceptible, and you could fall into that trap, kind of like the John Cusack's movie 1408, which I think is one of the best reenactments of ghosts constantly jumping out that window, and he's just sitting there witnessing the residual, the circle, until there's a change. Someone comes in and helps say, stop, you've moved on, you are dead now, or even entertain the idea why it happened, and it did happen. Like in Waverly, all they wanted to do was get a cure.
Yeah.
So you ever think they're just wandering until someone says, "Look, guys can leave"?
I think what's fascinating about that movie is we didn't really, when we were writing the script, there had to be a reason why the ghosts were there, why they were haunting the place. It's just not enough. It's haunted, but why?
Right.
And so we came up with the concept that they'd wake up in their beds and their neighbor, their other bedmate, was gone. And we know most people know they put them down the death tunnel so they would hide. They would lose morale and see people dying, so they would never have a hearse pull up at the front. So they had that secret tunnel built where they wheeled the bodies to the train.
Right.
And we came up with the concept for the script through doing the investigation and having hearing things and said, well, what happens if they told the people, oh, well, they went home, they were cured? Because we couldn't find any dirt on Waverly Hills when we went to the Louisville Historical Society. But we're writing a script, so we're trying to get research. So we said, well, this hospital back then was costing $1,300 a year, which is a lot of money back in those early years. Well, if they said that tuberculosis was not curable, who would go there, right? So we said, we made Incurable, which is appears on the mirror in the movie. And we said that's what they would. And we did the freezing, how they were frozen. It was frozen on the porch where they put them out in the middle to get air. And when we released the movie, right when we were doing Spooked, we started getting letters from the grandchildren of the people that were actually there, the grandparents that were actually in Waverly. And they said, our grandfather wanted to tell you that what you said in that movie was true.
Oh my God. Wow.
So that was really amazing to get the letters coming in from the movie Death.
Yeah, still to this day, we get letters about the nurse, on 502 and all that. And saying, yeah, that happened, or this is not correct, this is what happened. But basically, a lot of people call it the most haunted place in the world, and I might agree with them on that. It's definitely the most haunted place.
We had a nurse on the roof who was reenacting one of the nurses that jumped off the roof because she was pregnant and unmarried, which was a shameful thing. And then she was fearful the baby in her had TB. So that was what the story was. So we took her on the real place where she allegedly jumped, the real nurse. We put the actress there in the little 1920s outfit and took a 45-foot scissor lift up the side of Waverly. She would really jump off of the roof onto the scissor lift, 5 feet hidden below the camera. So we were shooting that scene. And she jumped. She was all crying. It was amazing. She jumped and she landed on the scissor lift. And everybody applauded and said, "Oh, that was amazing." And she just looked like she'd seen a ghost. And she just said, "You don't understand. I didn't jump. I felt like I was pushed.
Oh my
And he
god.
said, by making our movies there, imprinting the real energy, we're becoming supernatural detectives. We're imprinting the energy. So it made us start thinking, are the ghosts really telling us that she never did jump, that she was pushed? And this stuff is coming through in our film.
Wow. Oh my
So
god.
there's a lot of backstory on how we got into the
The
paranormal
movie
because of that.
Last Night at Soho, it was an investigation, and they were ghosts trying to solve the mystery. You know, if you think about the spirits where they're filming, and we're hoping for them to write the story and write the script, and they're actually telling us which direction to go. In our movies or documentaries, they write the script.
Yeah, through our evidence, they write their own parts. Through their EVPs and the investigation, we write what they're saying, so we give them a voice through our films.
Wow.
You know,
But
so
did you
that's kind
both
of
write?
Yes, both was
Both
right.
right? Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Y'all have so
Well, we-
many parts.
Well, we base our writing off of all the research and the investigative reports, eyewitnesses, and history, that documented history we can find. And then, of course, we do touch the legend. We're big on history. If anybody's seen our films, they know that we're really big on research. Some of our films have taken, like Children of the Grave, which is on, just hit Apple TV and Amazon and Tubi now. Took 2 years to make. We just don't bang them out because we try to get many, many paranormal groups to have consecutive evidence. So we're not going off an urban legend or a myth. We're trying to go with what a common sighting is, and then we investigate that. And it's like you start the legend out, then you go there, and then without being biased, then you start getting proof that it was that concept or was another concept. But I've always find the story behind the story far more scary than the story you're after in the first place. Because like there was Seeker Wonder, and saying the movie The Possessed that we did, which is also on Amazon and Tubi. It's about children being possessed, but it goes into the first reincarnation or possession in 1878 in Waseca, Illinois. And it talks about how an 18-year-old girl possessed a 13-year-old girl from in the same prison cell that she died. And she possessed this little girl in Waseca, Illinois. And when you just start putting all this together, it's truly overwhelming. But we're looking for the evidence. When I was doing the research, I found out that some of their family were the sheriffs of that town, and they were hanging people, little boys, and put a bull in the oven to torture him. These are the things you start finding out going through the newspaper archives. So I'm like, wow, that really happened. That guy was not as good. He was the mayor of the county or whatever. And then you found out why he held a lynch mob. And, you start finding other things about these stories and going like, oh.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a good point Chris brought up. It's about paranormal investigation focuses, I think, which is fine if that's what you're into, much on finding spirits and ghosts. But we have to realize once you stir that up, if you're really listening or you've done enough research to find out, you might find out something you don't want to find out. And when you're doing this and putting it on networks, they don't necessarily really like some of the stuff you find out where the ghosts might be there. And that's the challenging part because there's a lot of stuff that happened that is not stuff that's network friendly. And today's paranormal world is just basically, oh, wow, did you hear that? Whoa, it's cold in here. And that's about all you get. But if we're paranormal investigators or if we're taking it seriously, we become supernatural detectives in a way. We're going to uncover why that person died, why that person is still feels a message needs to be heard, unfinished business, so to speak, because they're here for a reason.
And the more tragic a haunting is, the more obviously tragedy had happened there that embedded, like the smell of burnt toast, or a smell that you can't get rid of no matter how much you try to in your room, it stays there. So the more violent or the more tragic something has happened, that haunting it's going to be ugly when you find out what happened.
Right.
And networks don't necessarily want to dwell on some of this stuff that happened back then that was more common day. But I mean, I think for us, we've always wanted to tell the truth, that we told the truth, saying
Exactly.
children are brave with the
Yeah,
99 children buried in a mass grave, and
Yeah.
how certain states want to bury that, and the asylums all being turned into a bed and breakfast for you. They don't want you to know that the torture chamber was right underneath where you sleep, and
Oh
we
my
find
God.
those torture chambers, and I think that people have a right to know.
The
They
attached
do.
The Attach is a really good example of that, which is our latest new release, which is, again, sorry to be so shamelessly plugging, Amazon,
This is
Apple
you.
TV.
This is for you
Yeah,
guys. So
yeah,
plug.
Apple, Amazon, and Tubi was the case of Rebecca, who hasn't seen that film yet. It's mind-blowing because there was a pregnant woman who was admitted into an asylum, and she had a stillbirth, and she became suicidal when they took the baby away. So she snuck back into the morgue and got the baby, and she hid it in the cubbyhole in her cell in her room, and used to rock it at night. And they had
How sad.
yeah, it's very sad. And they had a thing where she would tap on the pipes to other patients to let them know that the orderlies had made their rounds so she could bring the baby out. It was the only thing she was living for anymore. Well, they found her one day when they took the baby out, and she hung herself in the bathroom. And when we took an SLS up there, and you guys have to see the Attach to see this footage because it's the most mind-blowing evidence we've ever captured, is an SLS camera. We'll geek out for a second. Is touch and go. A lot of people see it jigging and doing the dance in the hallway and all that.
Yeah.
Well, that really has no relevance to what actually happened. So we did all kinds of false negative tests with the SLS. We got we got the people, everything was good. Well, I shone the SLS, and it's live on this show, The Attached. You can see it happen. And we got a figure appearing of somebody putting something in and out of the cubbyhole in her cell. And if that wasn't shocking or creepy enough or sad enough, it wasn't a minute later that a little figure appeared in the cubbyhole of the baby.
Oh.
And we have 2 SLSs, which is almost impossible to get if you want to debunk this stuff. The people are really into paranormal. And it was a tragic event, like we talked again, looping over and over time.
Oh my God.
It was only visible by the thermal imager. We were so blown away by that. We sent that to Bill Chappell, who Digital Dowsing, who makes all those incredible devices. And he said, Philip, look, if that's what you got, it's not going to create a small figure. If it's not a small figure, and it's not going to create an event that happened. It's like I said earlier in this, if it's jigging and doing the dance, has nothing to do with the tragic event, then it's like, okay, what's going on? But the fact that it just captured that tragedy only, didn't see her sitting here doing walking, but only that tragic event. And that's all that looped over and over.
She hung herself on the shower rod, and we also had the figure hanging there, dangling.
Oh God.
So there you go. So, and I think what's fascinating is people who see spirits or apparitions like we did in Death Tunnel. It doesn't take 30 seconds or a minute before your mind starts talking you out of what you saw.
Yep.
Logic kicks in. And oh no, maybe I saw that. And by the time you tell somebody, there's that shadow of a doubt in there, and they're going, yeah, whatever. But if you can capture it on a device like that, it's really hard then to say, okay, well, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And what's really crazy is you can have 2 SLS. This is what's so cool. You can have 2 SLSs back to back shooting the same thing, and one SLS may not capture it where the other one does. Now, we have to make sure they're the same exact model. That there are different models, not as sensitive. You can have 2 back to back, but that means it's personal to the viewer. That means their belief system and what they're capturing is a big part of it. You sure you're capturing it on a device that you can go show somebody, but it's your own belief in seeing it that is helping make that happen. And people have to realize that go ghost hunting. If you don't believe it, you're not going to see it.
No.
It's all part of that afterworld, that spiritual missing realm, that connection that we have. Doesn't matter what cool gadgets you have. If you don't believe in
You
them,
kind of get it out what you go in for. It's like a Ouija board. If you're looking for negativity, you're going to get it. If you're looking for positivity, you're going to get it too. The only problem with talking to the other world is you don't know really who you're talking to, you know?
Right? Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
you calling on a little, you try to talk to a little girl, and it could be an evil manifestation disguising that.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to Ashmore looking for Elvis Skinner, the girl who died in the fire, or Joe, the guy who died on the railroad tracks. But they never go in there feeling, well, maybe there's other entities that are making themselves think that you're a little girl. So it's quite an interesting thing. And the more knowledge and more research you get, the more you get a little more savvy to understanding how that works.
Oh man, it is amazing. I've been doing this for a little over a decade, and it is amazing when you find something that just blows your mind. It's absolutely amazing, especially
What do
the
you do with it?
EVPs.
You know what? That's the thing. Once you
Share
open
their
that door,
stories.
yeah, I mean, the thing about it is there's so many ghost hunting shows, which is wonderful. Paranormal is bigger than ever. But there's so many shows that go in there and it's half an hour show or whatever. Okay, great, we're out of here. Well, now we've opened the door, we've conjured it up, and now we got to go.
And then
What
you're
happens to the
leaving.
family that's still there, or the entity that's been like, I thought you gave me hope. You wrote me a letter or something. Like a prisoner gets a letter, he gets hope, and then you stop writing.
I think it's
You
total
know,
disrespect to the entities and the spirits that are out there trying to get their stories out and
yeah.
giving them something. And that's why I call them ghost hunters. Those are ghost hunters. What Keith Age and all of us do are investigators. We do the research, we look at it, we make sure what we got is debunked or not debunked. And then
Well,
we go
that's
from
we used to
there.
call, yeah, when we were doing the ghost hunting events where we would take people around, we called it ghost exploration. We
Yeah.
didn't want to use the word hunting because I just think it's a negative, and I know the networks love that, and you get
hunting, hunting
Yeah.
is for killing
trophy killing,
Like look at my deer on the wall,
And it's like,
that.
no, eat it. At least eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's crazy. I think that's why a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, because like next season I'm doing true crime too. And it's a lot of research, a lot of going down rabbit holes, and a lot of trying to find the factual evidence instead of just assuming. Like a lot of these true crime shows that are out there, they just grab it and assume what happened.
Yeah, we do quite well with my other company, the Haunted Bazaar. I deal with a lot of real true crime collectibles, and I've had Manson's, not Malin, but Charlie Manson sheets,
Yeah.
letters from Ronnie Fios, Fios, Amityville Horror Dude, and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of it is very disturbing. Recently I just I was able to get is it in there? I don't know. I'll get it for you. That would be great. Oh, I think it's on there. I got the entire files of Amityville Horror crime photos, 30 of them.
Wow.
I have to tell you, I have the real true crime photos. It's horrific what happened.
Gosh, yeah.
And the the children that were shot. It's really bad. So it's really hard to get in too much into that. So again, you have to look at it as an investigative reporter, and also how can we help, tell this story and make everybody at peace. You can't fix it. I hope you can make it more comfortable for the crossover.
Now this is really cool. I'll Chris tell you this story. Yes, for you viewers.
Yeah.
Okay, that. Talk about energy. You probably can't read what it's written on. I'll read what it says. London is on one side. I can't read it. And a cell number says 222.
Oh,
look at Now, Chris,
Wow.
you tell this. Is this up for your in your auction?
This is going to be my auction. Yeah.
This is going to blow you away. Where this key, right in the doors, this opens.
This is from an asylum, Bethlehem hospital asylum in England, which is known as Bedlam.
Bedlam Asylum.
Bedlam is the most
Oh my God.
wickedest asylum in the world back in the Victorian days. I think one of the queens was put in there. They did a story about she had a lobotomy and put in there. One of the I can't remember which.
From Hell covers that.
Which queen? Was it Mary?
Yes,
Mary.
one of the queens.
So Mary was actually in there. She had a lobotomy in there. But, yeah, this
Is she
is
the
just
Bloody Mary? The Bloody Mary? Or was
I
it?
think that before then
They were covering up a syphilis scandal with Sir Edward. It's a true story. The movie From Hell covers some of that stuff.
Yeah, but just
Without a doubt.
there you go. And I'm just saying that having
Fly out of your hand.
having these things and holding them,
Mhm.
which I know we're going to go near the end of the interview about the other situations about haunted items, but having those, I love to feel them and touch them, not necessarily collect them. I feel like I
smell the iron.
I feel like I have them and I can feel the story and the energy, and then we'll tell you the research and film stuff about it and tell you the story, and then we let it go. But it's incredible to have that kind of history, and in today's world it's like nothing lasts more than seconds because of the attention span of the average viewer. I'm on my phone, I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching TV all at the same time, and then like my son looks at me, what happened? Well, you should have been watching, right? Well, I was watching. Now you look down for a minute and you knocked it away. And I'm saying I understand that's how the attention span is today, but it's so beautiful to get, especially Victorian stuff, whether it's baby carriages or whatever, that held this piece of, incredible depth and energy, and then you feel it and tell the story and bring it back today.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's been a niche of all our movies. We usually take the real items into the real locations to stir up that energy. And so we do the recreations of those stories in the real places they actually happen. So you can kind of imprint the energy. And every show we've done, whether it's that attached, for instance, we could have shot those recreations at a set in Hollywood or something, but we did an investigation for the attached. I told you about seeing the SLS of it. We shot the recreations of her in the actual room. It was a very sad event because you just could feel the energy recreating that whole thing of putting the stillborn baby. We had the whole prop made of it. It's an incredible show, The Attached. But we shot it in the real room. It happened.
The suicide bomb.
The same with the story of William Gacy's armoire. That was amazing. A friend of ours got the armoire, and when he got it, it was locked from John Wayne Gacy's estate.
I don't tell it's all. Watch the movie.
I will. But they don't. I'll just leave it at this. When he got up in the morning, it was wide open, and inside were 3 paintings from Gacy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the clown. And then what the hell happened after that was scary. It was so scary. The Attached was a really heavy show for us to do. And I don't know if you want to spearhead into the exorcism event.
Well, I think you wanted to bring that in, right?
I did want to ask you guys a question about your relationships, because you are twins. You've been doing this business for years. Now we always hear about sibling rivalry and everything, but how do you guys keep doing this for as long as you have?
I think it's I think it's a concept where you realize that, hey, Shay, don't you say, I wish it was 2 of me. I could get things done. Well, there you go. I
have to tell you what's wonderful is no matter what job or hat that he wears, he's got a lot of hats. What hat that he wears, whether it's producer, director, cameraman, music composer, writer, publicist, aide, whatever, you always know that person's doing the job as passionately and as good as you would have done it yourself. And that's the blessing that we have. That's why one of our subcommittees is called Twin Talk Entertainment, because it's an unspoken language between twins. If you Google Twin Talk, I'll say something, he already knows it. He already knows what I'm going to do. He already knows.
Like if you're on set and you're directing an actor, I just, I say, Mom, and he goes, yeah, she sucks, doesn't she? You know how to communicate, and then you know what to do to fix it.
I mean, the funny story is that being twins, we always used to hate being dressed alike, and we would get gifts from our older brother. He'd give us like the Pink Floyd CD of Dark Side of the Moon, and he'd give Chris one side and give me the other. We really wanted our own identity, and we were fighting for that. But when we made Death Tunnel, we went to Booth Brothers per se, as in marketing or whatever you want to call that.
Right.
But Ray at Sci-Fi, who bought Spooked, says we're going to make a movie on a company that shoots a film and horror movie, and the real stuff happens. I want to make the documentary Spooked, and I'm going to market you guys as the Booth Brothers. Oh God, here we go. Now we're twins again. We no more. And since then, which was 2004, that's what we how that came about. But I don't really.
There's not much. I mean, in the younger years, when you're young and stupid, but full of whatever, there's more rivalry and more what's sort of competitive.
Yeah, competitive.
That is, I don't see that at all anymore. It's we got this mission to do, and let's do the best we can do.
I mean, Chris is a wonderful brother, and I couldn't wish for a better partner. What was that? And it's
too sweet in here, man.
And you guys, we did an interview yesterday, like we do in yours, and we went through our whole library. And like you said earlier, my God,
that's not all of them.
Yeah, you got a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But it really made us realize how we created every one of these.
Absolutely. After talking about the best, I had to go to bed. I felt so tired.
Yeah.
Did all this.
God,
I'm exhausted.
And what's so exciting, Sean, is that with streaming services now, we're appealing to a brand new market again.
Yeah.
We have the diehard fans and the people that know us as, say, the Pink Floyd or the Paranormal, if you want to call it that. We have the most epic, legendary, detailed, research-driven, emotional, without pushing ourselves. It's true. I recognize the amount of work that goes into our shows. But since our launch of our YouTube channel, Spook TV, we're getting 400,000 hits now on one clip, and it's like we're introducing ourselves at a brand new market that sees us. It's like going to see Aerosmith or something, and now all of a sudden an 8-year-old loves Aerosmith, and and you get to say, well, I remember them back 10 years or 15 years ago. They were my favorite band. And so for us,
you can't really see these chairs. These actually wheelchairs.
Yeah.
We're in there.
Cool.
But I'm saying it's been really interesting to see all these new fans and saying, wow, you got stuff. This stuff is great. I see all this other stuff, and it's all it is night vision and talking, and it doesn't go into this stuff like you guys do, And so I think it's been really having a twin brother. Back to the question at hand, is I couldn't have done it without him, and I don't think I would have stayed as long at doing it, and I don't think our stuff would be as potent.
No, I like working with people too. I'm not all about solo. It's so much better to try to find, especially even a crew that all can work together, which is hard,
Yes,
people.
I understand.
So, yeah, I'd like to stay 30 seconds to Mars like 10 years ago than what they are now.
Yeah.
A singer with backup tracks and a drummer.
I think they're down to 10 seconds tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me like we lost something there, and using that, even in the paranormal field, people are not dispensable. People are not interchangeable. When they build a brand together, it's like, you know, even U2 is saying it now because they don't have the drummer because he has health issues, but they always make sure that Adam bless this new drummer, and he's still playing on the album in the studio. And I think when we start dissecting that and don't understanding that doesn't work, or ego takes over,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when Axl was with Slash, and then we just start, you know,
Or the Motley Crue.
those bands belong to the fans. I
Yes.
mean, without the fans, they wouldn't be the band. And they have to
Exactly.
sometimes accept that they are that, you know, and they don't do that. And I think we accept that what we do together is what we do together.
Yeah.
And it makes it the real stuff, you know, and I think that's kind of where we come from.
Well, you two are amazing in that aspect too, because you've got people in the paranormal field that think they're all high and mighty when they came from nothing, and they treat people like crap. But you guys are always so welcoming and open arms and hugs all around, and I love it. You two, I love
Oh,
you.
thank you.
You two are amazing.
I think that people that, you know,
Thank you.
looking just quickly on that note, looking at people that are starting to think they're better than other people and treat people like shit, you can just really don't even blame them for that, because it's really their own insecurity. They're
That's
feeling
true.
that their careers getting older, they're dwindling, and they've had this need to think that they're really important. So they put that out there. So when I run into somebody like that, I go, well, what's wrong, really? Because I mean, you're putting out that
Yeah.
I'm better than you, and obviously you're overcompensating in your attitude. So
Yeah.
you really know that they have something going wrong in their life.
No, yes, yeah. That's a lot of the things that I see maybe happening, but at the same time, they don't need to be taking it out on everybody else. I've had somebody
they
do that
don't.
to
No.
me,
No,
and I was like,
there's
I'm
no
nice as
excuse
can
for it.
be, and you're gonna turn me into a bitch because of your attitude.
Yeah. Well, you realize they aren't worth the time of day
Yep.
anyway.
That's true. That's very true. Going on into the next question that I had for you guys, as paranormal filmmakers, have you ever gone into a building like Waverly Hills or Ashmore Estates and felt like, uh-oh, maybe we brought something out we shouldn't have?
Mostly, I think what happened to me, I mean, two of them. One was the Exorcist case.
Mm-hmm.
That changed our life. And I think the Attached really changed our life, because when I was doing the I don't really tell many people this. I've released quite a few books. I don't even think it's in my book, but when I went down to Scout a few times before we actually went down there to shoot the documentary, The Attached, I went for those of you who don't know, St. Albans Sanatorium is in Radford, Virginia, and it's actually an incredible hospital, mental asylum, and it is a real mental asylum.
Actually larger than Waverly Hills, and I think that's key to mention, because 88,000 square feet is Waverly Hills Sanatorium, but it's 104 square feet is St. Albans. So,
but it has 14 real isolation cells in it.
Oh
so you
my
can actually
God.
go in, and the door's looking, I mean, oh my God, for art direction is incredible. They're all rotting and painted, and they haven't been fixed up. So you can lock yourself in those asylums, and you can concentrate on channeling or whatever you want to do with it, investigating. I went in there, we did an investigation, and something happened to me that's never happened to me. When you feel a ghost go through you, pretty much that's like a really almost like a shot of ecstasy, like, wow, because it walks right through you. This one didn't walk through me. It attached onto me.
Oh, wow.
And I had video footage of showing me literally going like, you know, when a chicken goes around like with his head cut off, and I was going, get off me. This thing is, you know, like, you know, hanging around me. And then, of course, much later when we went back, things were very different in my life and in my marriage, and everything got weird and dark and different. And then, of course, we were dealing with the exorcism box of Annalise McKell, which I know we might talk about in a little bit, but that started growing off of that situation, and I ended up in the hospital and I'm not saying exactly, this is what did it. I'm just saying this is a timeline. Because
Wow.
I mean, there's no one can prove that you're getting sick because of this, or it's
Yeah.
just natural life in general. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one and states it's this. I'm just saying the timeline is perfect on what happened. So
Yeah. Oh man. Well, you talked about the
Uh,
Exorcist box. Go ahead, Phil.
yeah, I was going to say about the exorcism box. That is a very featured segment in the attached, and it is frighteningly scary because a lot of people don't know that Annalise McKell was exorcised over 65 times, and she was
Mhm.
actually possessed by 6 spirits. I don't know if you want to call them demons. You can call them demons because they were definitely evil spirits. But one of them was Adolf Hitler, and I find that very
I
fascinating.
didn't know
They
that.
don't have that in the Emily Rose movie. For the viewers that don't know this, that's the real Emily Rose, which they based the story on Annalise McKell. But it was Cain from the Bible of Cain and Abel, and it
Wow.
was Lucifer,
Nero.
Nero, the evil guy from Rome. And each recording, which is featured in our film, The Attached, is different. Each voice is different, and we had them all translated. So
Wow.
you get to really hear what was said. And I have to tell you, without saying viewer discretion on the thing, having to edit that and listen to that and go through 200 audio tapes was was something that you realize that this poor girl, this really happened.
It was a hard show to do.
I
There's no
bet.
doubt that having the real exorcism box. I don't know if you want to talk about that now, but
Yes, we can do that now.
okay, you're the captain, so anyway.
You're more than welcome to go into that now.
Well, when it arrived in a trunk, and I had gotten it off of the niece of one of the priests that was at the exorcisms, uh, who knew the father, the Annalise's father, and the other 2 priests that were there. And when they both died, the parents of Annalise McKell, and their house burned down.
Oh,
Whether this thought that it was vandalized and it was arson because they called her a witch. She was known as the devil woman. So anyway, I had gotten the box to a priest from that, and then it arrived, and I was afraid to open it.
oh God,
You
I
know,
bet. I would be
you know,
too.
I know, but at the same time, it's a symbol of good.
Right.
It's an exorcism box with Catholic crosses on it and a crucifix inside it with holy water and everything. So that is supposed to be what you're supposed to turn to when you find evil. So when I realized that, I opened it up and I put rubber gloves on, which was kind of silly because that's not going to protect me, except for maybe mildew, right? So this incredible energy came out of the box, overwhelming, like a really for those who have done ecstasy or drugs of that nature that change you right away, it was like that feeling, but you're not on drugs, you're not high. And you went, oh my God. And then suddenly the internet router above me blew. It just blew up. And I felt this feeling of accomplishment coming out of the box, that what was meant to be happened and was okay, because she wanted to die.
Yeah.
Bringing that box in and then realizing all the history, and then also working on, the Exorcist File and the Possessed and all these very 3 dark shows in a row. I think the manipulative energy and the just the overwhelming darkness created a lot of issues around here.
Oh,
And that's why I
wow.
was really happy to recently send it off to Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum.
I bet that was something. Did he call you on that or?
I would not sure how it happened. I know that I decided to get rid of it because, first of all, I'd seen something in the basement, and that really, this is when I was married, but we were getting ready for a show, and I came up to tell my ex-wife, and I don't know what to say, but I just saw this skinny black shadow, but also apparition of what looked to me exactly like Annalise McKell running across the basement. And I just came up really shaking and saying, this is too much, man. This is too much. I want to get rid of this thing now.
Yeah.
So but we kept it till we finished the movie. And then we had to take it on the road because it was like a
Trying to.
sort of like a PR for the film. And not
And people wouldn't come up. I think you might have been in one of the shows when we had it there. People didn't even want to come up and look at the actual exorcism box with the holy water and the brush and the crucifix with the melted candles and the original candles that were lit in her bedroom when they did the exorcism. You know, never mind the exorcism diary, which was next to it. But then people would take pictures and they would come back, and I would say, let me guess, your photo's blurred, right? So how did you know that? So everybody was telling me they're taking pictures of this. And
not all the photos, but a lot of the photos were blurred. But I thought it was time to, because after that, was all those things going on. And then I got divorced and my life changed, which I'm really happy for, both her and me, where our lives went, because, I am who I wanted to be now. Yeah. But it took that darkness and that incident to shake me up, and either you sink or you go higher. And I chose to go higher, and I wouldn't let it get a hold of me. But at the same time, I didn't want to hang on to those objects anymore. And who better else than the master of macabre, who's into the dark, and a museum also. Okay, I have it, and I, donated to somebody who's going to be able to see it anymore. It's a part of history.
It is. It's like a paranormal historic relic.
Would you put in the London Museum or something?
I mean, 6 copies were in the Vatican. We got a copy of that diary. Took a paranormal group everywhere they kept that boy in the original Exorcist story. And that was quite a journey. And when Zach said he has a number 100 attraction
in America,
and in Vegas, people should have the ability to go and see this. Yes. We make horror movies, and those are 2 of the keyest props of a horror movie: Emily Rose or The Exorcist. Right? And we've done all we can do with it, and it seems silly for us now not to let other people be able to see something like that. So it was the right fit at the right time.
Zach was, to me, the perfect one because he had the most power for you to be able to see it from now on at a reasonable price, because I know he charges for the museum, which is fine, overhead stuff, but he was excited about it, and he was very respectful. He was very nice. We talked many times before we decided on the situation, and he told me what he wanted to do, and it sounded great. He said, I'm doing a new Exorcist exhibit down there in my room. So he made a whole new room for us. We're going to go in there. The lights are dark. And you're going to go in there. The doors are going to close, and then the lights dim off, and you see the exorcism box of Annalise McKell with her voice.
That recording. Recording of
and then the Exorcist diary, and then there's clips and audio videos of the other history that we talk about. And it's featured as, kind of like the exhibit, the Exorcist exhibit, started by us, but, done really well by Zach Bagans. So I thought it was the perfect thing. There's a few people have mentioned, I don't know about that. And I'm going, well, it's the perfect thing, because now anybody we're talking about right now can go there and see it.
Well, not only that, some of the things you have that are like that he's got that are dark and dangerous, that he can keep them in a safe place. Whereas if anybody just lets it go or lets it get handed down.
Somebody mentioned, why don't you take it to the Lorraine Warrens
Museum?
When was the last time you visited the Warrens Museum? Is it even open?
I didn't know it was open. I never knew about it.
It's so more personal. This is, Zach has the James Dean. James Dean's actually got from brochure, you know, that he died in. He's got Ed Gein's, you know, this and
Yeah.
whatever. He's got that. And I said, dude, you know, this is what we should do. And he agreed, and we both got excited about it. And then it hit TMZ, you know.
And I think the main thing was to all time it around the release of The Exorcist, you know,
Yeah.
because it came out last week.
Yep.
And the TMZ article came out, and we want to be very thankful and very grateful for all our fans, and our new fans, because it put Exorcist File on
Yeah.
the top.
And I also
of
want to say
Amazon.
a lot of people pull down people saying that, you know, in the media in general, that, oh my God, the self-serving or whatever. We must always remember that the media is the one who writes the headlines, not
Yep.
the artist. Like, you know, so sometimes the artist has a tendency to come across all full of himself or whatever, but it's really the media that drives the, you know, the bait
Yep.
and tag lines, and they write those lines, not the people that are trying to tell the story, because they feel, you know, viewers are going to attach themselves. So there's a lot of, you know, misconception and attacks on people then when they don't really have the say on what they're promoting, you know, and how to promote.
Well, watching
can see
people
what-
for a long time too on TV, you can tell the difference in their demeanor from the time they start to the time that you can tell they're either tired or they've just seen too much and they're trying to just stay sane.
And also just stay alive, because in the TV business, you could be canceled or fired tomorrow for whatever. You say what you believe in, you're canceled. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously the wrong things, I get that, you know, but I'm saying, you know, everything seems to be wrong now. Unless you're completely a robot. Unless you're completely a robot. But I think
I'm far from that.
And that thing, we're very honored that Zach has it, and anybody that wants to see the real exorcism box of Emily Rose and the real Exorcist Diary, go to Las Vegas and go check it out. And anybody wants to see the story behind it, watch our film The Attached.
Yeah. And what's your new film coming out? What's your new film coming out?
Oh, we should talk about Never Blink.
Never Blink. Well, first of all, Never Blink.
Can you see it right there?
Is it's based on true concepts of, for instance, when you blink and you just blinked. That the time is about 0.10 seconds that you blink. If you add that throughout the day, that's 48 minutes you blink. And if you notice, when you do that 10th of a blink, you kind of go, I can see it right now when I do it, kind of go into the darkness when you blink, right? But your mind fills in the gaps so you don't lose your balance. That's part of how it works. But if you could really see what's in that darkness, especially 48 minutes that you're missing, it'd be scary as hell. Yeah. And that's what we show you in our film, Never Blink, what it's like to see what you're missing.
It's based on a real scientific fact that the mind fills in that gap, but that's an artificial image because it only fills in what you saw before. So you don't see this going on in Blink. Yeah. So in the film, they create a pair of helmet and goggles to record what you actually see in those gaps, and it stitches them all together. So it's a really, really cool, unique, fresh idea.
There's a really dark creature in there.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited.
And then it's been nominated at quite a few film festivals, most recently the G.E.K.S Film Festival, who are a great family to us. We always love doing G.E.K.S because they treat us so well, and we have so many fans. I mean, when we did Death Tunnel, I think that's Kentucky. So Lexington has been like a huge fan base.
So it's October 20th. October 20th. At 9:00, which is a Friday night, and we're doing the screening for the film festival. You have to have G.E.K.S tickets to see it, and we're giving away a pair of those cool glasses.
I can see what's in there.
I have it in my promo.
yeah. Those glasses we're giving away, and some other things, and then we get a lot of autograph posters.
And what's exciting is this is going to be anybody who's a horror fan, and this is the coolest film that we've made. And it's the most ambitious film we've ever made. This is the only time you're going to be able to really see it at a festival screening, because it's at the American Film On and it's with our agents, and we're not allowed to sell the DVDs or put it out. We're allowed to do festivals. So this is a real treat for moviegoers, because this is the only time you're going to be able to see it. So
at least until it's released.
Yeah, until it's released. We've been asked to keep it mum's the word. We can't do it. That's why people ask me, when's the new film? Well, because when you market your film, it's got to be a brand new film, and they want to keep the lid on it until they put this big marketing campaign behind it. So, but you guys can do festivals. So that's what we're able to do. So it's a real treat for people that have been waiting to see it.
Oh,
well, Skip-Fest has a lot this year. They have a lot of great stars. They have David Arquette. They have Dylan McDermott. They have a lot of stars.
But y'all are going to be at Scare-Fest. Where else are y'all going to be? Because I know you got one in November coming up too.
Michigan, which is Justin's show, incredible show. We did it last year. It was such a success that they made it 2 nights this year.
Oh no!
So it's actually for 2 nights this year. I think it's Friday, Saturday, and beginning of the part of Sunday.
I think it's November 4th and 5th, isn't it?
Somewhere around there. Just that weekend or whatever. Birthday. And Michigan's going to be great, and we're going to have a lot of our stuff, our Spook TV swag, DVDs, posters, books. I'm an author as well, so I have a lot of my books. And then also the Haunted Bazaar, which is another entity of what we do, is going to have real voodoo dolls.
Oh, and the scariest
dolls. Yeah, some really scary stuff.
Do you want me to get them?
If you can get them. I might fall them. Yeah. I got a living room full of stuff that's going on the auction, which is the end of the Halloween weekend. So it's the 26th to the 29th, I believe.
Sweet. Yeah, the 29th is on a Sunday.
No,
Sunday.
it's Thursday. It's Thursday to Sunday. It's the 26th to 29th of this month. And it's a Facebook auction online.
Hold that real quick.
Okay. Well, this is his book he comes with, but it's a beautiful. You might want to see his whole thing.
Look at him.
He's tall. He's big, dude.
He is tall. Wow.
Yeah, he is really old. He's so precious. He's right from the 30s.
He looks almost just like the one from
I did get close.
Don't speak. What is it?
Dead Silence.
Dead Silence. That's it.
Yeah.
Not from Dead Silence. I'm my own person. Excuse me.
Now, do you feel anything off of him?
Well, he's that one actually. I have about 7 more. That one I won't sell because he's my. I had a psychic come over here and told me that he was my guardian angel. And he watches me watch TV and he laughs and stuff. So I won't sell him. I have quite a few like him because I can't keep them all. But ones that I find at estate sales or people that pass and they lock them in trunks. 3 of them I found locked in a trunk with their hands taped and the hands tied and the mouth taped.
Oh. That tells you something right there.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm into that kind of intrigue, and I go by my gut feeling. Interesting because there was something else I had that I got rid of. There was a suitcase that was full of possessions belonged to a mental patient who checked himself in because he said he was the reincarnation of the devil and he was possessed. And I got his suitcase, and when I opened his suitcase from the Victorian era, an old suitcase, inside it was 2 dolls. One of them was totally mutilated, and he wanted to make it what he thought he looked like. So he mutilated the doll. He didn't look like that, but he thought in his own mind he looked like this doll, and he mutilated the doll. And then what was really scary, he had a scrapbook, and in the scrapbook he had his teeth in there and hair, and then voodoo spells. And then as it got near the end, it was graphic drawings of a spiral, a vortex. And at the end, there was clear picture that he drew of a Jinn. And then that had really, really bad energy. So I was able to, I think Catherine from the Haunted Hill House, who owns that Hill House, got it from me. And she says it has caused nothing but incredible, I mean, good for her place, but incredible, what's the word, trickstery all over her house since they got it. She sent me pictures of some very strange things they caught in the mirror, evil looking people. And so that,
Christus also sold it, was it crucifix to the ghost busting, what they call themselves? Huge article.
No, in London, I forgot what his Museum of Horrors. I believe it's South Compton, England. I can't remember. If you're watching this, you can correct me on the name. I believe it's Museum of Horrors, and he took this exorcism box that I got from a priest and put it in his thing, and they did a live investigation, and it hit the news over there because during the investigation, the cross snapped in half. And it's made out of metal. I mean, there's no way that would have happened in any way. I have other ones here, and you can't break them. I mean, you can break them, but you gotta really, this thing just right on camera. And they saw. So the news coverage all over. I think Page 6 and the other Daily Mail over there, England covered it. But
great stuff for Halloween.
But you just got to be kind of like, it's cool stuff, and if you're into that, which I am. It's cool to have, I just not much of a collector, and I also believe if you let things go, more things come into your life.
Yeah,
I mean, and
I think it's
interesting. I think it's interesting because people go, "Oh God, you do all these movies and you write all these scripts and you have all these objects around, and yet we're pretty light people, we're pretty like down to earth, like because." We're like the Monty Python. We're like the Monty Python of ghost hunt. Because I think that I know you agree with this. This goes with any industry. You should not become obsessed with anything. And there are people that are in the paranormal that are truly obsessed with it. And we shouldn't be obsessed with death. We should be obsessed with living, whether that's helping someone cross over or helping someone who's still living from
if you're going to dwell on the death,
celebrate life, the human spirit, not the death spirit. So there's a mixture there that you got to find balance, because everybody says, well, don't you bring home attachments? You do movies on this stuff. And I think not really, only the darker ones like the Exorcist File, which is the Exorcist Diary, which is the other thing that Zach acquired from us. He got the copy of the Exorcist Diary, and I know that I had posted the story yesterday or the day before on Facebook about what happened to me in the hotel room where I got attacked. And then also when we bought the diary to use it as a script for the documentary, the house became very dark. There were shadows everywhere, and the feeling of oppression and suicidal depression, oppression started happening. And I remember just as of yesterday, we had that rose garden in the front. I had to go out there and stare at flowers to believe there was something more than just darkness, because it got really dark. I mean, what's interesting is because if our kids came up today and said, "Hey, I'm possessed," you say, "Okay, well, you watch that movie and that." There's so many. If you watch Exorcist Believer, you watch this. But in 1949, when that diary was, I have to be clear, it's actually a journal of the exorcism. 14 priests witnessed that exorcism, and they wrote down everything he said and did and happened and how the process was. And what's fascinating is, if you're a big Exorcist fan, yes, there was scratches in the attic. That's in the diary. The Ouija board is real. They actually conjured up is Captain Howdy in The Exorcist. They was contacting his dad, Anne.
Tilly.
in the real diary. So it's a fascinating. We should let people know you can get that book,
Yeah, I transcribed
the real
transcript,
the real journal.
into a book.
wow.
So those who don't have, a lot of people already have the book. So if you don't have the book and you want to read the true story on the Exorcist, it's on spooktv.com.
And then we made the movie
It's
from
called The Exorcist Diary. And it's pretty, it took me 3 months to read the diary because it's just really heavy. Because everything that happened to Reagan, which was a girl, Linda Blair, almost everything happened to Ronald.
It's funny because we talked.
The boy.
We talked to the great niece of Father Bowden that Max von Sydow played that character, and she would say it's so great to watch the documentary. She goes, he'd come home after the exorcism, but after 6 of them, he lost 40 pounds in weight. The priest himself, and she watched the deterioration of him and what was happening, and it's fascinating to talk to the real relatives. We actually talked to the sister of the haunted boy
And the boy's ex-wife.
Wow.
So I was sitting and saying, "Did you know that your husband is the real exorcist boy?" And she goes, "That explains everything."
and
I don't know,
and
okay.
the fact that he became a NASA scientist.
Wow, very smart
He's,
boy.
he invented the
Yes and no, because there's a theory here. He did patents with NASA, and he was the one who developed the heat shields on the moon unit that landed on the moon. And coming through space, you don't burn up. So he developed the concept that you're not burning up when you go to space. So here's this guy that was possessed, got exercised, and became a NASA scientist. Yay! Or what happens? He was possessed, and that exorcism did work, and he went ahead and became a NASA scientist to create something to go into space and cause nuclear war.
That's true. That is
So
true.
I mean, there's too many ways to look at this, but it's an interesting concept.
I mean, it's such a fascinating to have that physical copy of the diary, because what I started saying, if the kids said they were possessed, well, in 1949, what was he watching to be influenced? If you want to
Ouija
write
board.
it off, what is it? How do you mean? What do you want to write it off as mental illness in 1949?
Well, in the movie, I think, and also I did some music because I do music videos. It showed everything that was on television that would have influenced him in 1949. And that was the beginning of the A-bomb.
Yeah.
That's when the A-bomb was first released. And the only, because it was a very pornographic situation with him, very racy, because whatever happened to Reagan, you saw in that movie, it was a boy that was doing it.
Oh my God.
So the concept of all kinds of...
He pulled a mattress spring out of the mattress in the diary, and he attacked the priest.
And cut his arm open.
He drew a map to hell on his sheets. And
Betty Page was the big thing.
So the thing is,
so you think of what this kid, if he's making it up, was he watching? People get influenced to make up stories, but there was no internet back in 1949. So what was he watching? What's he seeing? So we did a study on that. And again, it was the A-bomb. It was Betty Page. It was other things like that.
Howdy Doody.
Howdy Doody was a big thing. So I don't know.
That was way before my time, just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Howdy Doody is.
I know what Howdy Doody is only because I've researched it. That's it.
Yeah. Good one. Good cover. Yeah.
I mean, this fascinating. What I love about what we do is that's probably the main thing. It's a fascination of finding out. Like real quickly, like when we did the Possessed, which is on Amazon, and it's about children that or teens coming of age getting possessed. What do they have in common to prove that what similarity is in possession? And none of them met each other or knew each other, so they were interviewed separately, so their answers couldn't, match. Yeah. So it was like they all lived in dark places, like they all wanted to move their bedrooms to the basement or garages or somewhere dark and damp. They loved that.
They all cut themselves.
They all were bleeders.
They were cutters.
Some of them ripped the skin totally off their arms. There were all different very, and I'm not saying that death metal, causes possession, but they like to listen to death type metal. That really, they were into that. And then I said, well, when you go to hurt yourself, or some of them wanted to kill their parents,
Oh God.
what overcame them? And they said, well, when we did that, this is what really made me blown away, is they all, and remember, none of these people met or knew each other at all. They were not interviewed in the same area. They were separately different states. They said that they heard the sound of marching drums, the sound of an army, the sound of a trumpet when they felt like they were getting possessed violently.
Wow.
And that's really weird. And then I realized that was not the strangest thing, because in the 1949 diary of the Exorcist, it states when Ronald, the boy, possessed boy, was going into a possession, he said he heard the sound of marching drums, the sound of an army, the sound of trumpets. That was written in 1949. Our interviews were done in 2009.
Wow. Yeah,
I
none
really
of those kids would have seen that.
could have read that.
And of course, the marching of an army is a legion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rome, legion,
And in the Bible, it
each
talks
legion.
about that. It talks about when they're fighting the legion of the army, God will have the sound of army, the sound of drums, the sound of a trumpet. It says that in the Bible. But so now it's open for interpretation. Is that a warning from the spiritual side that the devil's coming to make an army? Or is that the sound of the devil coming? Or is it the sound of God alerting a trumpet? Beware, put up your shields, the devil's coming. Open for interpretation, but fascinating still the same.
It is
right?
fascinating. Oh my
And
God.
this is the stuff that horror movies are made of. And I think what's great
It's all true, though.
for Halloween,
Incredibly
because
true.
we all love to be scared, is this: there was nothing scarier than the true stories. And I think that's why
definitely.
we've been very successful in what we do, because we tell the true stories. Like a lot of people don't realize that whole Exorcist story was 100% real, and it wasn't made up. It wasn't a fiction. It was,
Yeah.
William Blatty got a copy of that diary, and he gave it to Friedkin to make the movie. And Blatty wrote the book from that diary.
And you got to understand, even if the boy, because we, in our documentary, we do have the, I guess, debunking side of it, or he was mentally ill. Definitely that's the first approach you really should take. Anybody that says it's 90% of people that are possessed are mentally ill, not possessed. Only 10% are possessed. So the boy, if he was making it up for attention, and I do believe the boy was, back in 1949, being a homosexual was really, really difficult. And he was, what the diary reads is he was, that, and the priest, it says the priest took advantage of him. He had stayed in the bed for a month. With the priest. It's just really weird where it goes. And I'm going to leave it open for interpretation. You guys can read the truth and figure out what you get out of it. But one thing that could never been, what's the word? Asked questions about and could not be proven wrong is the boy literally floated.
Yeah.
He had epilepsy. He was violent. That's why they put him in the St. Louis election with us also. But he floated. One of the orders saying, well, that ain't epilepsy, dude. He's floating. And these things that really happened. And when you watch the Exorcist Files, you'll see the devil's sheets, what the devil told him to write on the sheets. We show you the sheets of what he wrote that the devil told him to do, including a map of hell.
We got to talk to the movers who moved the furniture, the actual bed, the desk, and the little pew that the priest sat at when he was doing the journal. And the priests and the nuns would refuse to go to the room anymore. So they sent the movers, and then they just thought, hey, what's regular furniture? We actually talked to the movers who moved it. Wow. And they said, what we don't understand is they asked us to double crate it double container with a metal covering, and they shipped it off to Scott's Air Force Base, the military compound.
Where it remains to cold storage.
Now that's kind of weird, huh? It was like
Yeah,
lady that's a lot
well-
or something. But that's the truth.
Are they afraid of the furniture, or do again, being devil's advocate, are they afraid of the furniture, or just do they want the world to feel that you should be afraid of the furniture, so it creates religion still being strong with a spiritual fight against the devil?
Oh,
Because we all know
that was
religion, a
good.
lot of it is monetary gain for
Yeah.
religion, but without the devil there is no God, so you have to have both. So every now and then you got to throw in, well, if you don't believe in God, this is going to happen to you. So it's
Right.
open for interpretation. But I tell you, the things that we do cannot deny other things. When you see people floating, when you see people talking Latin, you've never learned Latin,
Yeah.
things like that, or you have super strength. These are the
Yeah.
6 things of possession: being able to talk in different languages, being strong, foretelling the future.
Talking to the priest who was actually there before he passed. He was like 95, who actually will look you in the eyes and tell you that he had superhuman strength. He became manic, and he threw Bowden and the objects across the room with his mind. You have to ask yourself if that priest is lying. But when you're looking at somebody, you can tell if they're embellishing the truth. You can tell they're lying. This guy's just saying it as a matter of fact. And, whether you believe it or not, but I'm telling you, that's what makes
We interviewed a 90-year-old priest, God bless, he's passed now. We interviewed 2 priests in the Exorcist File that was actually involved in the Exorcist case. They were the demonologists, which is really cool. And God bless them, they both have passed. They were very old when we interviewed them. And actually, one of them was very ill, but he just says, a 90-year-old guy goes, I saw him throw an inkwell across the room at me. And it's like, oh my God, this is, really cool that we had the honor to interview you and get the truth out there.
It's funny because when we were filming him and we'd ask him, so do you believe in the devil? We were just throwing random questions at the end of the interview. He started having a coughing fit. I don't want to laugh, but I remember at the time I looked at Greg Myers. I love Greg. And we just looked at what? He started like this.
Oh my God.
Right after we asked him that. And I didn't know we got some water, and I don't know if that was just coincidence. But to those experiences, like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was living at the
St. Francis,
what do they call it?
Seminary.
Seminary across the street.
Which is where
we went in there. It was like really gloomy. There was this priest.
They actually did that.
Really charming, full head of hair, very handsome, old Maximus Sadao priest, and wheeled them across the street into the St. Francis Church, where they did the baptism of the boy, which he had by them, and filmed them and asked them these intense questions. It was a really good documentary. It really is.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Y'all have given me an hour and a half of your time, and I so appreciate it because I love hearing these stories from you guys. I will definitely have to get you on again later next season.
Yeah. I'll cut this up into multiple parts or whatever.
A mini series.
Can totally do that. No problem.
Yeah.
But y'all
We
have
a lot
those
of
two.
things.
Oh yeah, you do, and I need all those stories. I want all those stories. So yeah, I'll
Good.
definitely get y'all back because I know y'all have some plans on doing some stuff next year, and I'll keep in contact with you guys on those. But you have Scarefest, the end of this month or the 20th, right?
Yeah.
The 20th.
Then after that is the haunted auction, which is if you go to Facebook and type in the Haunted Bazaar, you'll see the event happening on the October 26th and 29th. Then after that, in November, we're doing Mid-Michigan for 2 days, which will have some, haunted items there as well. But we're talking this year. That's right. We're speaking.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then it's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time, so break.
Yeah.
I understand that.
And I'll just wrap up. I'll say that all these movies, which is Dead Still, Dark Place, Children of the Grave, The Exorcist File, The Haunted Boy, The Possessed, The Attached, Spook, and Soul Catcher are all on Amazon. These two are coming in a month, but most of them are now on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Apple TV. And don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, which is Spook TV at YouTube, because that is full of creepy content for Halloween. Anybody who hasn't been there, you can just live there. It's so cool. We have us talking about the things. We go to the real places. We do the interviews. We have clips from our movies. There's 121 videos up there to watch. And I want to thank you to the 14,000 subscribers this week, and to the many, many views that we're getting. And we really appreciate it. We'll hope that you love the channel, and we're getting great feedback on it.
Well, I love the channel. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. It's
Thank
always
you.
awesome to see you. Thank you for being on
Thank
my
you
show.
so much. Thank you. You're beautiful as always. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're
Bye, Chuck.
welcome.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
And that's the show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening in to my interview with the Booth Brothers. It was amazing. Sorry for all the pauses and everything. I was filming it from Adobe Premiere. But I will have a newer version of this up later. But if you've missed it, you can go to youtube.com and see the whole show. youtube.com/Geeks Paranormal. And until next time, stay free, stay safe, always do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I will see you guys later. Bye, y'all.